I've been watching the Olympics, and I've been enjoying myself because it's exposed me to a bunch of sports I don't normally watch. Right, like I watched a lot of women's rugby. Right. I had never. It just came on while I was, while I was sitting there, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll give it a shot." Now I don't really know the rules to rugby, right? All I know is if you get tackled, you're supposed to throw the ball like back when you pass it, so then they can try to get further than you got and everything. And there was this one woman who was running with the ball, and a woman from another team went to tackle her, right? And rather than falling like gravity would dictate, she just picked up the woman tackling her and ran with her and the ball. And I was like, I don't know how to play. I don't know how to play. I don't know the rules, but is that legal? Can you do that? No. And then there was the guy. I didn't know shooting was part of the Olympics. But there was this dude that showed up that really looked like he wasn't in the sport, because everybody else had like, I don't know if y'all read comic books, but everybody else had like dead shot gear on, like just they adjusted it and then lean in and then they lean back and stuff, and then they take the shot and stuff. And this dude was just walking up, no expression. Boom, boom, silver medal. Imagine how mad you would be if you went ahead and you got all the gear, you got all the glasses, the goggles that tilt and stuff, the little binocular thing with the red dot sight in it and everything, and then you still watching him over here just boom, boom, silver medal. That's a dangerous one to just be so good at off of talent, because then your competitors are like, we're going to have to shoot them. We're going to have to, one of us has to do it, right? One of us I'll bump into you while it's your turn. You just be like, oops. And then you had, you had Team USA in the men's basketball winning gold today. Just through and through. You had LeBron and Curry just serving up moments, right? Just little leans back, boom, draining it, everything, killing it like we're supposed to. Because basketball, that's our thing. We should be killing them. In basketball, I don't even want the games to be close. It's exciting when they're close, because then you pull it out and then you're like, yeah, I was so annoying. I was a real, like, an American as a stereotype when Team USA men's basketball was playing. I was like, yeah, get up. Yeah, like I'm on the team. Like I'm one of the coaches. Just, get up. But because we did so well in the men's basketball, it makes it even more perplexing that we did so poorly in the men's 3-on-3 basketball. How did, there's so much talent. The literal NBA is here. I understand everybody can't be on Team USA, and I don't know if it's a pride thing, like maybe you just don't want to be on the 3-on-3 if you're not in like the proper Team USA, but that's that's half court. You just run back and forth. That's an easier path to a gold medal, and they just didn't want it. There's not an NBA player on the team, to my knowledge. It's just 3 dudes that I think are my age. Like, just that shouldn't even be allowed. That's very frustrating to watch us play and struggle at basketball. I don't care if it's 3-on-3. I don't care if it's 1-on-1. We should be dominating. Do you know what it's like to sit there as an American and watch the men's 3-on-3 basketball team struggle against Latvia? You couldn't have pulled 3 superstars or something. I gotta sit here, we getting dunked on. This is gonna be the most out of pocket that I speak the entire show, but I was watching it furious. I really was, because as an American, you sit there watching yourself get beat by a country whose GDP doesn't match Texas. And it make you, like, you sitting there watching us just slowly lose and stuff, it make you want to go to war. You want to, a part of you's like, let's pay them a visit then, if they think they so cute. We've started wars for less. Come on. Don't worry, we didn't put it in the history book. Oh, no, I'm just saying. Like, this is my thing. Even when a game is over, whether you're watching an NBA game, an NCAA game, or just, like some footage from a documentary where, they're doing some exhibition game or something. When you go up to a professional basketball player, you go up to these professional athletes, and you see these sports journalists run up to them with the mic. How do you feel like the game went? And they put the mic in their face, and then they're standing there sweating because they just got done playing the game, but they're like, we did some passing, and we did a little bit of shooting. We should have done more shooting than passing, but we did as much. They always sound like they're failing a pop quiz about basketball when they get asked the questions about the game they just had. You were there. Why are you umming? And then we plan to do a little bit more dribbling next time, and then we're gonna dribble, and then we're gonna pass, and then we'll shoot, and we'll get more of those in next time, and then that will result in more points, and then we will have more points than the other team when we get done. So the result today won't be the result tomorrow, right? And that's all well and good, because they're standing there, and even though they're pouring sweat and they're breathing hard, they're standing up straight, and they just got done playing at the highest level, okay? What I don't like is things like what I might even be wrong. Maybe this isn't the interview I saw, but I could have sworn that after one of the members of the team on 3-on-3 was asked some questions after, and in my opinion, I know I'm not playing and he is, but he looked a little too tired for my liking, right? I'm not gonna let you be tired and lose, right? Like that's unacceptable, you know what I mean? Like he up there getting interviewed looking like me, like just like, yeah, they were good. They were pretty good. No, if you're gonna represent me in the Olympics, right? I need you to play better than I can play. If you're gonna represent me in the Olympics, I need you to be a LeBron, a Curry. Make me believe in myself, right? Don't just have me sitting there watching the TV like, that's what I do. Like, I could have. They had breakdancing for the first time ever. All right. Look. So they had breakdancing as an Olympic event for the first time, which, here's the thing. We do need to take a step back for a second and go back to the invention of breakdancing. Breakdancing is something that comes truly from like nothing. Just kids and a piece of cardboard on the pavement and imagination, right? And it created an entire genre of dance that splintered off and made other genres of dance since. So I think that it's an incredible thing that you have to take stock of, that something that just started with a few people has become this thing that's blown up around the world to the point where it makes it to the Olympics, to the world stage, right? But I was watching, and I was like, maybe we need to keep some things a secret, right? Like maybe maybe we don't have to tell everybody some of the stuff that we do. You know what I mean? Because I want to be clear here. There were plenty of very good breakdancers, all right? But a lot of them were overshadowed by people whose movement was questionable, all right? You know, because there were a couple people where you see them dancing and you're like, to call it a routine feels like you planned this, and I don't think you did. I think you're making it up as you go. I think that you woke up and you were like, oh, today? Like, I think that's the way you dancing right now. It's not the dance of someone who prepared. Like, there was an Australian dancer. Okay, look. She was dancing, and I'm not gonna act like I know how to break dance. I'm also not gonna act like I have great movement myself. Most of my stories are when I could have had better joints, all right? So I'm not trying to act like, ooh, I knew it or whatever, but I will say, as soon as I saw her, and she was dressed like she was from Squid Game, that's when I was like, I don't know if you're taking this serious. I don't know what's about to happen right now. And okay, so she starts dancing. So she started dancing, and they had interviewed her before the Olympics, right? Before she ever went to Paris. And I think they interviewed her after her performance. And I think both times she said that all of her moves she invented, right? Which I believe. I do believe that. I think that that's true. That's just a fact. And she's dancing, and like, when you're watching it, okay, there are some traditional moves that you see in breakdancing. A lot of them are like moves that lead to spins, right? So someone will just have their hand on the ground, but then they'll be going up with their leg, and it's all to build the momentum to twist and then to spin on their head or to spin on their hands or something. And she kept almost doing it. Like, there were plenty of times where she was like, I was like, she about to go, and then, do you know what I mean? Like, she would stay on the ground in a way that wasn't satisfying, right? Because even in breakdancing, sometimes you just see straight up backflips, right? And there was a backflip she did, but she did stay on the ground the whole time. Like, it was a backflip, but like she maintained contact with the ground at all points. And as I was watching it, I'm like, look, I'm also coming to this as someone who's watched a lot of breakdancing but doesn't know what the rules are for the Olympics. Maybe you're just supposed to hit poses, and she's hitting the poses and she's racking up poses. I have no idea. So I'm watching, and I'm watching for the judges. I'm watching for the crowd, right? And there was one dude that I like really zeroed in on. It was a black dude with some dreads. And he was doing the thing that as black people we do, right? When someone is doing their best, and when someone is like trying to participate, right? I don't care where you are. We give people a chance. We really do. Whether it's somebody who's trying to rap real quick, whether it's somebody beatboxing, somebody dancing. As black people, you can see it in videos around the world. We always give 2 free nods, right? We always give 2 free initial nods because you're getting into it. We don't know what you're about to do. You might surprise us, right? So there's 2 free nods that everybody gets, no matter who you are. And there was a guy in the background when she started, and she was really doing the, you know what I mean? Like, she looked like she was about to get ready, right? And there was a black dude in the background that was like, You know, because that third nod, you gotta be careful. That third nod is a cosign, right? Like that third nod means I love what I'm seeing, right? And he pulled out just before. There are moves that are staples of breakdancing. Like one of them, I mean, I can't do it, but one of them is when a dancer puts their hand on the ground and then they put their full weight on their elbow and they either do a pose or they spin. You see that a lot. You see that on any breakdancing that you watch on Instagram, TikTok, any of that. It's like a real staple move. And at one point she went to do it, right? But as far as like being on the elbow, she was like, I got something different for y'all. I'm gonna switch it up real quick, right? And so instead of posting up on her elbow, she just kind of laid on it, right? And even when I saw her land, I was like, she getting ready to do something. She getting ready. Y'all give her space. Give her space. She getting ready, right? And then she spun, but she did it on her own time. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a fast spin or a flying spin. It was more like, we gonna get there, right? Like we gonna get there eventually, okay? I was truly taken aback. I was like, what is happening? You know? Because as a country, you have to pick a representative, right? You can't just be like, hey, as far as I'll go. I'll take the flight. There was a competition, and you have to qualify to make it to the Olympics, which made me wonder, who did she beat to... You know what I mean? Like, everybody clowning her and everything, but she's the best. Do you know what I mean? She getting a lot of extra undeserved hate because she won her place to get here, right? So then I want to know what happened at the competition to compete with the judges were like, we can't send you. It's all you. It's rough. That's rough stuff. Because this is, to be fair, she did get a lot of hate for this, and just in case anybody doesn't understand, to be fair, a lot of the spirit of breakdance is competition, right? It's usually one or two, people hopping in and out of the general circle where we're all watching. Sometimes it could be 3, 4, right? And one of the things that I watched happen in the men's, like it was, I think, the US versus Japan, right? Is that even though they were in competition, when the other person was in the circle, like doing moves, because Japan and the US were killing it, right? Like lots of spins, lots of like fun stuff, cool stuff I hadn't seen before. And anytime the other person was in, their opponent would still be like, oh, because it's a sport of energy, right? It's a sport of fun, right? And when she started, her opponent was kind of like, okay, all right, okay. All right, yeah, I get it. And after a while, her opponent just sort of started walking. Like, and then when she wasn't, this was kind of wild. It is part of it. So like, you can't hate on her for it because it's a thing that happens when people are breakdancing, compete against each other. But then her opponent was in there doing real moves. Because when I tell you she made up her own moves, she straight up, like, I've never, I've never in my life. She did the opposite of a Michael Jackson. She did. Oh man, Mike is moonwalking in his grave right now. That's. But while her opponent was in there, doing the real moves, she was walking back and forth and was going. Oh God, okay, all right. And so she danced, and the judges awarded her 0 points, and I didn't. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know. I thought you got at least a point for limbs, like. Also, oof. France has had some ups and downs, right? That poor pole vaulter. If you didn't see it, okay, basically, pole vaulting is a sport where you run up with a stick and then you put it into, like, what I'm assuming is the vault, right? And you stick it in there and then you keep going even though it's stuck in there and it bends, and then you ride it up the top and it lifts you. It looks like it shouldn't work. Every time I've watched pole vaulting, I'm like, how do they not snap off and fly off into another direction? Pole vaulting is physics, but it looks like it's against it, right? Like, I think that's why it's a sport, because every time you watch it, you're just mystified. You're like, how did he plan it to go that? It could have gone anywhere. And so, you stick it in, and you bend and you fly up, and then there's a stick that you try to get over. And so you throw your body over the stick, and then you land and somehow live, right? Because that's the other thing about pole vaulting that I don't understand, is how no one dies every time, right? And so anyway, there's a French pole vaulter that was running with the stick, stuck it in, just went backwards, and he's lifting up. And then when he gets about parallel with the bar, we notice on camera a different stick, right? Because there's always supposed to be 2 sticks. There's always the stick you gotta get over, and then you stick the U's to get over. But there was a 3rd stick at play that nobody could have foreseen, right? Because I don't know if this has ever happened in the history of people running up with a stick and sticking it in the thing and then going over. But he gets about level, and then, if you knock over the stick, you're disqualified from that heat, right? Not that you can't go again. I just mean, like, you didn't do it. If you knock over the pole you're supposed to get over. And he knocked it over. He knocked it over with his stick, his pole, his vault of sorts was what lifted that stick off. And then you see them, and they are connected. There were some people that were saying actually his knee is what knocked it over, and I'm like, maybe it goes to his knee, but I saw what I saw. And so, he didn't win a medal. But he won something else. because we're all talking about it, and we're talking about it favorably. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a knock on him as an athlete. I'm sure it's more impressive that he gets over sometimes with the stick he has to watch out for. He did his best and he did not come up short, all right? No. And I know he wanted the medal, but he got something even greater. He got everybody knowing that he had a big penis without him saying it. You know what I mean? Like, when you're a man and you have a big penis, it's something you got to keep secret that you just want to tell everybody. You know what I mean? You just want to let the people know, right? I'm surprised more men don't just go, oops. I can't believe what just happened. Oh no, I knocked over a glass of water. How did I do it? I don't know if y'all heard, by the way, but the Olympic Committee has decided to lift the intimacy ban in the Olympic Village, right? Yeah. Now, in case you didn't know, whenever people go to participate in the Olympics, right, especially for the Summer Olympics, they all stay in one big Olympic village together. And while they're there, they smash, all right? These are the best athletes in the world. In the peak of their physical prime, they're going to get it on, right? But Olympics is every 4 years. So 2024 Olympics means that last Olympics was that time we do not speak of, right? And in that time, they tried to have some semblance of the Olympics. And so they told the athletes, they were like, listen, something going around. The last thing we need is y'all making something new. So just come here, compete, go home, all right? But then you fast forward to present, 2024 Summer Olympics are in Paris, City of Love. Not only have they lifted the intimacy ban, they've committed to having 300,000 condoms in the Olympic Village. That's ambitious. 300,000 condoms. There's only 10,000 athletes. 300,000 condoms. Half the athletes are men. They expect 5,000 men to go through 300,000 condoms in the span of like 2 weeks. I am not an Olympic athlete. But on the night of my life, I went through 2. There is no way. That is too many condoms. That is too much pressure to put on these young men. It really is. They are already flying from around the world to win glory for their country. Now they gotta worry about putting a dent in their pile. That's not fair. It's too many condoms because you acting like all the athletes are gonna smash equally. They won't. Because you can be honest, when you think about the Summer Olympics, you think about the track stars, the swimmers, the gymnasts, the sexy athletes. Nobody's thinking about the equestrians. No one's like, he just ride that horse so good. I wonder what else he can. No one has said that ever. In fact, when you watch the sport, you're like, it seemed like the horse doing all the work. Oh. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if it was like maybe the Winter Olympics. Winter Olympics could get through 300,000 easy. Right? First of all, they need the warmth, right? Second, if there's any athlete from any sport that could get through 300,000 condoms in a couple weeks, it's the curlers. People love to act like the curlers don't get any. That entire sport is foreplay, top to bottom, all right? Every time they're playing, every time they send that rock down the ice, what do they do? Every single time, just, nice and gentle to get it started, you know what I mean? And then they send it down to that other guy on the other side of the ice with the broom, and he just, doing it just right so it hits a specific spot? Am I the only one watching the sport? That's my big issue. I just feel like, how do I put this? Okay. I feel like when it comes to the summer sports versus the winter sports look really, really cool. And all the sports are hard to do. All the people that participate are athletes, right? I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying that the people who aren't athletes that do those things still look cooler when it's winter. Does that make sense? Like if you were snowboarding and then you accidentally hit some like slope and you do something cool in the air, people still gonna want to bang you when you land. But if you playing table tennis, there's just a lot of the summer sports that are very virgin adjacent is what I'm. Do you know what I mean? Like the winter sports are like an event. Like even now, even in life, if you went on a trip and you're like, I'm going skiing, it's like, oh, you're going skiing. This is about to be dope, right? If I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I do think that people who do like the shot put and stuff, those are very impressive athletes. But if you walked up to somebody in life and said, I throw, it doesn't hit the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's just activities that are very impressive when the athletes do them, but if you're not an athlete, it's not impressive. Even the javelin. You look at the javelin, when an Olympic athlete does it, when they walk up and they do that, and then they like, blah, blah, and then it just goes forever. Wow. When you see like a regular guy do it, I was in high school and I saw, okay, it was a kid. He was supposed to be the best one at this other school because I wasn't on the track team, but I was like adjacent to the team. Like if somebody got hurt, they would let me run. But they knew I wouldn't win, so it was just to appease me because I kept coming to all the meets and I kept dressing out like I was one of them. But they were like, "You slow, you can't be with us." But I was like, yeah, but sometimes y'all trip, and one of these days, it's gonna be my time to shine. And they were like, yeah, but the other kids will still be fast. And I was like, we'll worry about that bridge when we cross it, right? But anyway, there was a meet where this kid had a javelin, and this was a bad track meet to begin with because they had everybody doing everything at the same time, right? And so then they had some of the kids running to qualify at the same time as kids were throwing the shot put and stuff. Now, people weren't really that strong, so things weren't going that far, but there was this one kid that was very good, and then he threw the javelin, and then he threw the javelin, and then you just heard and there's no way to catch a javelin in your body that doesn't make it look like you shouldn't be dead. Like, because it hit this kid in the leg, like it hit just in the leg, right? Which is incredibly painful, but it's so much stick hanging out the leg. It's like, how did it not go through your leg? I don't think you dying right now. You should have, like if this was war, if this is the movie, you'd be, you know what I mean? You just over here, oh, you know what I mean? I feel like what I'm saying is starting to make sense. I feel like you're getting it. It's that the summer sports just have so much range. You know what I mean? Like in winter sports, there's like bobsled or something. Bobsled still very cool, going super fast. And then you get to the end. Even if you last place, you went so fast, there's somebody at the finish line that's like, what are you doing later? Like, you know? But if you're the discus at the Summer Olympic and it just, you throw your hardest, right? You throw it as far as you can, and then it just go, and then it doesn't hit that line, right? Because they already have the line of what would be impressive. This impressive line right here, if you get it past that, people go, ooh. If you get low, people are like, oh. And then you threw it as hard as you could, and oh. You going home alone. That's just the way it's gonna work. But I hope it works out for the summer athletes. I really do. I hope they get it on. Because selfishly, I want to see what some Olympic-made babies look like. You know what I mean? Like a medalist in judo and a medalist in the high jump. That sound like how you make a superhero. You know what I mean? Oh, I hope they smash to their heart's delight. I really do. I want to see any like mixing. Like gold can't get with bronze. All right? Like we might not be making a winner. All right? I think family is incredibly important, right? But it does suck. Like, here's the thing. I don't know how to describe this. And this is not a perfect, I haven't thought it all the way through. So I haven't actually thought of a solution. I really am just up here complaining, okay? But it does feel upsetting sometimes that when you marry, like I've watched a lot of my friends get married, right? And when you marry, you're in the family, but you just wanted them. Do you know what I mean? Like you love them, and then a bunch of people you don't know are like, no, us too. We all go together now. Inseparable. We're family. You know? And sometimes it works out beautifully. Like sometimes you meet someone, you fall in love, and then their family is also delightful. And that's very sweet. I love that. I love that for my friends. I love that for my family members as that's happened to. But then sometimes you meet someone and y'all fall in love, and then you get introduced to people that you're like, ooh, I don't want to have anything to do with. I don't want to have anything to do with what you got going on. Like that's not why I came. You know what I mean? It feels like going to a restaurant, right? And being like, oh, I'll get the wings. And they're like, and you'll have the burger. You're like, I can really only fit wings, right? And that's why I only ordered the wing. No, trust me, the burger comes with the wings. And if you don't have a sufficient amount of burger, the wings will get mad, all right? The wings will be like, why don't you care about my burger, right? And you'll be like, I just wanted you. I didn't sign up for burger. I just wanted, I don't even like beef like that. Like I just wanted some chicken wings. And you're great. It's like, yeah, but the beef, and we were raised together. Like we should all find a way to get along. And you're like, this metaphor has run out. No, I just look, I've watched it happen, and it seems like a real bummer. It seems like, because you know that your friends will tell you about it. They'll tell you about what's going on, and it'll be some in-law and something, and they're not getting along. And I'm like, man, that's because you can't even really yell at them good because they're not actually your family. Do you know what I mean? Like at a certain amount of yell, like if it's your brother, your sister, you can let somebody have it. Y'all grew up together, and even if you were in separate households or whatever, you can still that's your bloodline. You can be like, you're an idiot, right? When you put in law on the back end, it just takes all the juice out of. Like some people still have a very good relationship, and I love that for them. But some people are like, my brother-in-law is a real. He's. You just want to choke. It's not even just. It's. Sometimes I dream about just punch the back of his head until I just pull back. The knuckles are just mush. I hate him so much. I don't even have words. And then you have to be like, but that's your brother, but not, right? Oh, one of the most interesting cases of it I'd seen was okay. So this kid from my hometown got married young, right? So they got married like almost right out of high school. So they're like 19 and stuff, and they want to be married to each other, but they're weirdly self-aware that they don't really have the resources to start a life, right? So they just married at home, right? They didn't have to do this at all, right? But they spend a lot of time at her grandma's house. Now, they're married, right? But then the grandma got remarried because the granddad had been gone for a while and the grandma could still get it, right? So she was out getting it, right? And so, she was out playing the field and everything, and then she found somebody to settle down with, like settle concrete with, right? Because this is the last one, right? And it's like, and so she found somebody, and then, that guy is now hanging out around the grandma. Now, his wife loves her grandma, loves hanging out with her and everything, so they're over at the house a lot. But he has a very weird situation because he has an in-law now, right? The grandma is his in-law, but she just got married again. So now this guy is like a step granddaddy. And if you think things can be fraught with a stepfather, a step granddaddy cares so little about you. Because he's like, I almost didn't meet you. Like, I don't, like, everybody grown. Like, we don't have to be talking right now. And so he had a step granddaddy kind of in-law, right? I've lost how this works. But all I know is he didn't have a in-law granddaddy, but then that stepped in, so now he's the step granddaddy, and that guy's name is Earl, and Earl is a dick, right? Earl using all the time he have left to just be an asshole. Which normally I would be on board with, but it was happening to my friend, so it was just kind of funny. Like Earl would Earl would be watching TV, and then they come over, and he still want to watch his show. And then he would say, because the grandma was never watching TV, she was always cooking or doing something, right? So it would just be him and Earl sometimes in the room while she was chilling with her grandma, and he'd be like, hey, can we watch like anything else? Because Earl would love to watch like Star Trek, stuff like that. And he's like, can we just watch the news, anything that's happening, right? Besides this. And Earl would be like, yeah, sure. And then he would get up and like go to the bathroom or something. But what he had done when he was getting up was he snuck the batteries out the remote and put them back and gave them to my friends. Now he just pressing, thinking that the TV not working. You could have said no. Yeah. There's at a certain point you're like, man, why are you here? Why am I here? Why are we doing this? And Earl had he had this raspy voice. I say he's still alive. He had this super raspy voice where he'd be like, so y'all just gonna stay for dinner? Eating up all the food. Earl didn't even cook. Her grandma cooked. But he would still get he would watch my buddy eat and watch him eat. He got the same food on his plate, by the way. This is how you know Earl a true hater from the core. Because he eating the same. It's not like my friend has something delicious he can't have. He just hates that this dude also has cornbread. So he's like... staring him down. Nastiest thing Earl ever did was Earl was like in a chair for a little while, right? and he had like twisted his ankle, and so he was in like a little wheelchair, right? And he wasn't leaving the house much. But one time it was him and my buddy in the room, and without saying a word, they just watching Star Trek. He given up on trying to switch shows and stuff like that. He's like, when I'm with Earl, I'm just gonna watch Star Trek and that's it, right? Earl leans until he tips out of his wheelchair and he laying on the ground. And when everybody come in, he pointed to my buddy. It was like, "Why would you push me like that?" Oh. I get hyped for the 4th of July ahead of time, really far out, you know? Get great barbecue, you know? It's the country's birthday and everything, you know? It's the only time as a guy you can look up at the sky and be like, ooh, sparkly, yes. You still have to hide it behind machismo, like, yeah, it's sparkly, but it's blowing up, all right? Anybody can get it. Shots fired, okay? You know, 4th of July is just a straight pride parade. That's all it's ever been, you know? It's just the one time a year guys get to be like, yeah! It's basically, don't act like it's not drag just because you put on a longer beard. Like, you dancing in the street too. You know, that's why I'm always blown away by people who complain about pride and they're like, there's no straight pride parade. I'm like, yours is coming up in a month. Like, you can't give it 30 days. Even when you think about it too, you think about the way that the country came together too. We think of the founding fathers as these like all these like old wise men and everything, because that's when they got painted. You know, they got painted late. They had already survived the war by the time we painted them. When they were in the war, they were much younger. We got the pains when they were like 40. But they fought in the war. You think they were fighting in the war old? You know what I mean? Like, yo, you think Washington was in the war like, get them, boys? No, y'all shoot. Oh. No, these were young men. Young men battling to create a country, you know? And it's mind-blowing how young they were when we won. You know, July 4th of 1776, Alexander Hamilton was in his 20s, early 20s. So was Aaron Burr. You know, some of the oldest people, I think even Washington was like only 40 or something. And that's just, it should be a testament to the fact that sometimes, you know, as much as young people don't always know the way, they have the energy to go the furthest, you know? So sometimes it's important to like let young people lead and old people guide, you know? I think that's how you you know, because there's someone that has all the passion, all the fire in their heart to do something, to like try to build a better world, and then there's someone behind them that doesn't have as much of the fire anymore, but is like, don't trip over that rock. Go a little bit more left and you'll be fine. Don't do what I did. That's how I messed up my knee, though. No. Founding fathers they're fascinating to me because, you know, they were trying to carve out an ideal into making it, you know, making it substantial, making it real, making it a country and everything. But there were still some pretty deep I don't know. It's a hard thing to write down. All men are created equal, and then look over and be like, yeah, except. Yeah, I mean, so it's a dream that took time, still takes time, still hasn't been fully realized in the way that it's at least on the paper. Like sometimes people have this revisionist history about the founding fathers, like they would have wanted the best for everyone and for all of us to get along. And I'm like, no, they said what they meant. Do you know what I mean? Like, the founding fathers didn't have slaves, but also be like, one day someone will right this wrong. But I think about how even, people know more about Alexander Hamilton now because of the musical and stuff. But Hamilton, staunchly against slavery and everything, and he was young, so I'm sure he was like this young kid that people looked at like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. He just talks a lot. And it's funny how we know about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr's feud mostly because of the musical, but we don't know how petty it got. Alexander Hamilton built a home in New York City, right? And Aaron Burr used his money to build a home down the street because he was jealous of where Alexander's home was, so he built the house pretty close by so that I guess Hamilton could see him hating from down the street. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were the original Kendrick and Drake. Amazing. I also get excited for the summer. I get excited for July because it usually means, at least for some years, that Will Smith has a new movie out. And it's happened. Bad Boys is out. It's crushing the box office, Will Smith slapped all the money out of Hollywood. Man, I want them to make as many Bad Boys movies as possible. I want to see these men old. I want there to be so many Bad Boys movies that after a while you're like, boys? I want them to make so many they gotta change it to Bad Unks, As I'm getting older, I realize this year that all of my close friends are either in or closely approaching their 30s. And it's so funny because, everybody 30 and up, when people turn 30 now, they call themselves old, which is insane to me. That's so, like, medicine is getting good enough where you can kind of expect to live to 90, but you're old at 30. Why would you be old most of the time? That doesn't make any sense at all. You don't bring home bread and then the next day go, it's pretty old. No. But I get how people feel that way. I really do. Because what's happening is we know deep down, right? We have this obsession with youth. And everyone's trying to look young, be young, stay young, feel young, all this stuff like that. And it's mainly because, and I've said this before, it's mainly because we know how we treat older people. So we're more scared of that than we are getting old. What's wrong with getting older? You know more stuff. Why would that be bad, But I get how people feel old at a certain time, because especially people who are in their 30s now, we're in a very specific time that hasn't happened, at least the way that it's happening to us, right? Because we were like coming of age at a time that was like a turning point for what feels like almost everything, right? Business gets done differently now. Tech is different. Every aspect of life is different. And we remember right before and as it turned and now. You know what I mean? Like if you're in your like 30s, if you're like 33 and up, you remember before Google. That sounds ancient. Just to say before Google sounds like another century, because it was. I work with people that are younger than me. And I was explaining to someone, and I hate when I have to explain a thing that makes me sound older than I am, because they're a little younger. So then I had to explain before Google to them. And I sounded crazy. I sounded crazy to me, but I was there, so I know I'm not wrong. I sounded insane. I was like, no, because before Google, you had to just know. And if you didn't know, you had to ask somebody who you hope knew and was friendly. And if they didn't know, you had to go online. We still had online. Don't do that. We still had online. So then you had to go online and you had to ask Jeeves. And then they were like, "What is Ask Jeeves? Like, what is?" And I was like, "Ask Jeeves is. It's like if Google was white. Like it's." And so you had to ask Jeeves, and if Jeeves didn't know, then you had to go to the library, and you had to ask a librarian. And if the librarian didn't know, they would give you a number with dots. They would give you a library is like a house for books. They would give you a number with dots, and then you would go trace the dots and the number to a book, and then you would read the book to see if the answer to your question was in there. And if it wasn't, you would just know a bunch of different stuff. You would know. A book is like a slow Kindle. It's like. Like you scroll with your finger, but it turns like there's something to turn with your finger. It's not, there's no screen. And then, if your question, what you've been looking for 6 months, yes, it takes a long time. So maybe cut your dad some slack, right? It used to be harder to know. Do you know how crazy you sound saying it used to be harder to know? That's not how I wanted to end it. I know I'm getting older because I'm getting genuinely more and more nostalgic for small things. Like not movies, not like like really small things about life. Like I miss growing up in the 90s. I think all of our appliances in the 90s were just better. They were just like top notch because not only did they last longer and they worked, but you could fix anything in your house by hitting it. Violence solves so much in the home. Growing up, all you need was some fists and some belief. And you could fix a whole house. Don't want me to call a contractor or anything. Like if you had just any appliance, you know? And what was special about it was that you knew how to hit it. You knew how to hit yours. That's very important. It wasn't just you could go hitting stuff, but you got to know your machine and you knew how to hit it specifically to get it to work. And it wouldn't work when you went over to your friend's house. You go over to your friend's house and their thing wouldn't be working and you'd be like, and they'd be like, no, you gotta go. And you're like, wow, I didn't know that. I don't have that model. That's good to know. So when I upgrade, it's 2. Okay, that's good to, and it's two towards the front. All right, that's good to know. It was a beautiful time. I just felt like things really worked. You know, like a '90s washing machine. A '90s washing machine you could hear it all through if you were lucky enough to have a washing machine in your home, if you had a laundry room in your home, you could hear, no matter where you were in the house, because the washing machine would be whooping your clothes. No matter where you were in the house, as soon as you started to watch, you would hold off watching a movie. Because you're like, we can't watch a movie and do the laundry. That's not, it's gonna mess up the experience, all right? It would be whooping the state. You could hear your clothes getting beat. And they were all loud, and they all just, like, the washing machine moved like it had legs. No matter where you were in the house, you could hear your clothes screaming in the machine. Just, oh! And you would go, whether it was your house or somebody else's house, you could go to somebody's house, you could tell how strong their washing machine was by how messed up the paint was on the wall, on that edge that was next to the machine. It would be beating your clothes, beating the stains out, horrific stuff, right? To the point where you could, even when you stained the shirt, you could tell, even back in the 90s, your shirts would be like, don't do that to me, bro. No, come on. Hey, no, we good? I'll push it out. I'll push the stain out. Don't send me in there with them. No, be amazing. And then if there was a little malfunction, if the door wouldn't lock and lips started coming up and everything, you know, suds started spitting out everything, just took a little bam. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh. It was beautiful, you know? These new washing machines. I know I already sound like an old man, but I was at an Airbnb. They had a washing machine in the Airbnb, which at first I was very excited about. I was like, oh, it's amazing. You never get this, right? And the washing machine was state of the art. And it was like a Tesla washing machine. It had so many buttons. It had a keyboard's worth of buttons. It had more buttons than I cared to read. I just wanted to hit clean. It had a handkerchief setting. It's sad. And then you put got a stain on the shirt, put the clothes in, and then, you hit whatever, turn. There was a lot to do. And then you hit, and it starts, and you can tell something is happening because it's spinning, and you can see through it now. It has the little door where you can look in, and it's spinning so fast that the clothes are gone. I was looking, and I was like, I can't tell if it's spinning or if it left. This is crazy, but it was silent, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that it was quiet the entire time, right? Just, but nothing. You couldn't hear anything, right? I didn't even know when the clothes were done. That would have never happened in the 90s. You always knew when your clothes were done because your washing machine would finish beating your clothes. And you would hear, oh! Because they used to put alarm clock stuff in the washing machine to make sure they made the same noise. This thing finished, I had no idea. It finished and it was like, hey. I don't want to disturb you, but I think I did it. And then I pulled the shirt out of the washing machine. The stain was so intact. The stain was sitting there comfortably. The stain was looking at me like it had its legs crossed. Looking at me like, your move. Even TVs. I remember we got a big screen TV and it was a huge deal, but the TV was if I remember correctly, it was kind of like a hand-me-down because we got the TV because it wasn't really working as much anymore. So the people that were throwing out the TV were like, we're going to get a new TV. And we were like, we don't have a TV, so let's take yours, right? And it was huge. It took up like most of the, remember the big 90s, tall, wide. Remember when TVs had ass? Do you know what I mean? Like really had it, like some true thickums. You know what I mean? Like, you would go over to your friend's house, they'd be like, I got a new TV. You'd be like, ooh, she packing. Oh, wow. I don't even understand. I don't even know why they made them like that. But it had like, it would be the screen here, but then just boom, boom. And that was great because even though the TV didn't always work, you know, you knew how to work it, right? Because it would do that thing where all those TVs back then, when they didn't work, they would just get wavy. You know what I mean? Remember that? It would be like, I'd put on the news and it would just be like red, blue, green, red, magenta, yellow. And you turn on the news and be like, at 8 o'clock. Because I was little when we got this TV, and I remember turning it on and it wasn't working. I was like, Mama, the TV ate a popsicle. And my dad would usually be the one to hit the TV because he knew how to do it, right? But my dad hit the he hit the TV a lot. My dad hit the TV so much, sometimes I was wondering if it was really about the TV. You know what I mean? Sometimes my dad would hit TV, I'm like, no, it was working. But my dad hit the TV so much that I think the TV genuinely learned to recognize, hey. One time I was trying to watch the news and my dad came home. That's all he did. He just came into the house and the TV was like, 8 o'clock. As soon as he closed the door, it was like 2 people were murdered. And then I got a TV. I bought a TV for myself as an adult because I wanted to have my own big screen TV. I wanted to have my own, like, oh, I'm sitting at home chilling for the weekend, watching a movie, have a real experience for myself, right? And I bought it. It was too expensive. I took out a car note on this TV, this several payment TV, and you know, we bring it home. I'm excited initially. I'm super excited because you know they bring it home and they install it, they mount it on the wall and everything. Smart TV, brilliant TV, good grades TV, right? But I'm trying to watch this TV, and I want to be. I'm not like a dumb person, but like I cannot figure out. I cannot figure out how to get the subtitles off this TV, and it's like I can't stress how much this is not my fault. All right. I'm not like a dumb. Like I know I'm up here doing the jokes, so we're all having a good. But I'm not a dumb guy. Like this is crazy. All right. And I want to be clear. I know that it's not the HBO subtitles at all because then I go to the settings at HBO and HBO is like it's not us. We're not the one to do it. But I'm trying to watch Dune 2, right? Try to watch Dune 2 on this big screen TV. I turn on HBO. I'm watching and it gets to that part where like Timothy Chalamet doing that like Fremen language. So he's like, you know what I mean? Like whatever they say. And so then in the movie, they have subtitles for that part because nobody knows what they say, right? So then the movie, those subtitles come up. But then on top of those subtitles are these like nasty gray italic subtitles coming up. And I'm like, who is typing? That's not what I wanted at all. And I can't get it off. And it's great. And it was everything I watched. I would leave HBO. I go watch something somewhere else. And they were like, and that's not even as bad as when I first got it. Because when I first got it, when I first brought the TV home, it had I don't know how it happened. It had the audio description on. All right. Now, some of you are familiar. So, if you don't know what audio description is, it's basically if you're watching it and you're visually impaired, it will give you both context for what is happening in the show and things that are more like stage direction. They're just happening silently, right? So then I don't know that that's on. I don't know. I didn't press anything. I just turned on TV. I hit on the TV. That's all I did. And so then I went to watch Law and Order SVU, all right? So now I'm watching Law & Order, and Olivia is like handing somebody their ass, right? Like she's just like, you don't know anything about Survivor, you don't know anything. And then she walks out of the room, and then as she walks out of the room, my TV is like, Olivia leaves the room. And I'm like, who is that? Who is that? Who is in here? And I went to the settings. I went to Peacock. I went into the settings, and the Peacock settings were like, it's not us. We're not doing that. I've used remotes all my life. I've all the time used the remote, and I pressed the remote was not remoting. Finally, it was off. I don't even know what I did. Maybe I didn't do anything. Maybe the TV just decided to stop doing it. I have no idea. But I was watching a different episode, and Olivia was once again handing somebody their ad. You don't know anything about Survivor. You don't know anything. And then she left the room, and I was like, because what can you do with this TV? What can I do when I can't get the subtitles on? You can't hit it. You can't hit it. I took out a mortgage on this TV. You cannot hit it. You used to be able, when the old TV, when I was little, I would play Sega Genesis connected to the back of the TV, right? And then sometimes Sega would be glitching up, which, translated for kids means the game was cheating, right? So then the game would be cheating, and so then I would get mad, and I would stand up, like 10 years old, and I'd stand up, and I'd punch the TV in its face. I would I'd punch the TV as hard as I could in what I thought was the nose, right? Like I would just, and I don't know what the TV was made of, but I would punch the TV and I would pull back the most mangled hand. Cause I don't know what it was made of, but it wasn't glass. There's no way it was glass. It had to be like clear steel or something. Cause the hand that I was pulling back, all my fingers had switched up and stuff. My thumb was in the middle. And now you can't punch a TV at all. You can't even dust this TV. You just gotta bargain with it. You used to be able to hit everything. The only thing you didn't hit back in the day was the microwave. I feel like you didn't hit the microwave because then and now, we don't really understand how the microwave works. Yeah, I mean, I can only describe a microwave. If someone had never met a microwave before and they were trying to ask me what a microwave was, I'd be like, it is hot magic. Yeah, I mean, they put some hellfire to good use and just, it gets the soups hot when you put it in there. My grandma, when I was little, she had what I imagined was the second microwave ever made. Like it was one of the oldest microwaves I've ever seen, and it didn't make any sense. We would try to get her to get rid of it all the time because it was so old that the door handle for the microwave looked like a door. Like it just. And then the buttons, she had it for so long. This had to have been, maybe it was the first microwave. She had it for so long that all the buttons had faded. So you don't know what you're pressing. I don't know what's potato and what's two. Like, every time you put something in this microwave, it's a gamble, right? You don't know if you're hitting defrost, if you're hitting 9 or whatever. And so, there was one time that everybody was cooking in the kitchen, but I wanted to make some easy mac in a little cup, so I flipped it open, put the water in, tried to put it in the microwave. It was like dun 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 dun. Because I just had to go by feeling, because all the buttons were like Audis. That makes like all the buttons are poking out like. Go ahead, press me. Go ahead. Press me. I don't know what's gonna happen either. Press me. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. And I remember I pressed the buttons and put the easy map, but there's so many people in the kitchen. I'm getting pressed up against the microwave, and I didn't hit it. I just was pressed up against it, and my whole face started to get hot. And I was like, y'all, this is leaking. I don't know. It is leaking magic in the kitchen. And we need to evacuate. Have y'all been keeping up with this Jonah Hill thing? Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So real quick, if you don't know what it is, Jonah Hill's ex put out a bunch of his text messages to her while they were dating, and she was a surfer. She still is, and then they were dating while she was surfing, and it's him being like, why you gotta surf around men, and why you got, and she's like a surfer and a surf instructor. He's like, why you gotta surf with men, and why you gotta post pictures of yourself surfing in a bikini and all that. So it was all this shit like that, right? And it just, you could see a decline in the text messages where he's clearly so worried about being cheated on, he's not making sense. He's like, why you gotta surf with dude? Because then if you're surfing and then he's surfing, what if y'all start surfing on each other? You know what I mean? And then like y'all are surfing together, and what if you get surf in your mouth? And then now you were just covered in surf, and you come home and you're like got surf on you. I was like, nigga, are you all right? Like, so there's been a lot of backlash about him being narcissistic and misogynistic and everything. And I think Jonah Hill committed a cardinal sin. He really did. Jonah Hill told a woman what to do while being an ugly motherfucker. Can't do that shit. You cannot do that shit. Like, look at the text and then look at his face. You cannot tell anybody what to do, sir. That's too much bass in your text right now for that hairline you got, you know? I'm not gonna lie, if John Hamm had sent those same texts, if John Hamm was like, I don't want you talking to any other men, you'd be like, okay, daddy. Like, yes. Did y'all see the Alabama brawl? Yo, who knew Wakanda was in Alabama? That was crazy. You know, that was wild. So many people came out of nowhere. That shit was like Black January 6th. That was like, that was crazy. If you didn't see the video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it really quick. Basically, there was this one guy. He was an employee of the place, right? And he was like asking these people to move their boat, you know? So it was a black employee, but he was asking these people who happened to be white that had the boat to move their boat, and they wouldn't move the boat. I don't even know if this part is true, but I heard that the riverfront boat that was waiting to dock had been waiting for like 40 minutes because these people refused to move, right? So finally, he just keeps going, like, you gotta move the boat, you gotta move the boat. They get out of their boat, they're cursing at him, and he's not backing down. He's like, you have to move the boat. I work here. You have to move the boat. And then they just keep cursing at him. Finally, they put hands on him, and then they start fighting him. And he did his best. He held his own for quite a while. So it's not like they beat his ass, but they were clearly ganging up on this dude, right? And, you know, a lot of people, as soon as they saw the video, they got upset. I got upset when I thought it was going to bum me out, just seeing like 5 white dudes ganging up on this like middle-aged black dude and everything. And some people were upset about the racial part immediately. But I'm not going to lie. I was distracted. I wasn't. I didn't hate these people because they were ganging up on them and they were white. I hated them because they had a boat. You know what I mean? This isn't just a race thing. These rich fucks with a boat are trying to beat up a working class person. It's insane. You know, made me furious. And then they started fighting them, and then like other people came
And a lot of black people already saw what was happening. So then when the Riverfront boat docked and other black people who saw what was happening, they all just swarmed. It looked like, like that one episode in Game of Thrones where, they were losing, but then just more just came down the mountain. It was like, I was like, God damn, okay, wow. Send in the troops, apparently. I should back up. When the fight started, the initial fight where the dude was getting ganged up on, he just threw his hat. Just threw it, and that almost felt like a signal. As a black person, I didn't know that was our call to arms. I didn't know this was like, oh, okay, all right, we go now. That was wild to begin with. Then it was crazy because then so many people swarmed in, it turned into a huge brawl. And I don't know if you saw a video, but there was one person that wanted to help when they saw him getting jumped so badly that this nigga swam. Jumped in the water. From the camera angle, we don't know where he came from. I'd like to think he came from Africa. I'd like to think he started swimming 6 weeks ago in preparation. Because look, if you know, the history of black people swimming, especially in the South, you know that we're not known for it. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna critique his swimming because I was just happy to see another black dude swim. That's just, every one of us swimming is a W, okay? But I do have to comment because he wasn't swimming normal. Did you see him swim? He wasn't swimming regular. This was not regular swimming, right? This man wasn't swimming to the fight. This man was punching the water till he got there. I knew he was gonna whoop ass when he got out of the water because he would. I've never seen someone punch water till they got to their location. That was so crazy. Go back and watch the video. This man punching with horsepower. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And then he gets out of the water, starts whooping ass, everybody whooping ass and everything. So you know that those white people, when it started fighting, then started more fighting, you know they were relieved when the cops got there, but they must have been conflicted because half the cops were black. Like that's a situation where even when the cops arrive, you're like, ooh, whose side are you on? Because I was kind of doing a thing before you got here. You know what I mean? Honestly, that's what's so wild. Because I think also, I've tried to put my mind I've tried to put myself in the mind of each person that was in the video in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a terrifying thing. To get jumped is a terrifying thing. Then the person swimming. Then I'm just trying to think about every angle that I could think about it from. I'm not gonna lie. That must have been a huge surprise because you out here ganging up on this one dude with your buddies, and then before you know it, there's just like 50 black people. That's. Listen, I'm telling you right now, let's say y'all just blinked, and when you opened your eyes, there were 50 black people behind me. I'm not even saying you'd be scared, but you'd be surprised. You'd be like, wow, that was fast. That's all you'd say. You know? Because that's the thing. That's, I think, the strangest part, one of the weirdest parts, like when you start watching the video, let's say you start watching the video, you had no context, nobody told you what was gonna happen, you hadn't seen any of the memes yet. The craziest thing about what happens is that, especially as a black person, I think some people are curious why black people have been memeing the shit out of it and everything. It's because if you know the South and you know the history of 5 white guys ganging up on a black guy and how that usually goes, especially when they have enough money for a boat. Usually doesn't turn out well, you know what I mean? And so this was a different thing. This is a different outcome than we've ever really seen before, you know? Because I'll be honest with you. Let's say we're in a different time and there's no camera phones and they were able to leave before the cops got there, they would have just beat up that dude and left. You know? And that's my thing where it's like, okay, yeah, whoop their ass, we all laugh, we all celebrate, whatever, but like, fuck up that boat. Like, fuck up the... What are you doing? Like, bust up the bow or something. Like, rip a rudder out, please. I do think that would hurt them more than the ass whooping. They just be standing there and looking like skippers. Not the boat!
You know what's actually crazy? I thought about this weekend. You know what I've never done at all in my life? I had to really think about it. Never once in my life have I Googled Jada Pinkett Smith. So why do I know so much? Why do any of us know so much? Isn't that crazy? I've never even Googled Jada and Will. I've never sought any of this information. I know so much about them, it feels like we're related. It's devastating. I don't know if y'all saw the most recent interview. She's given her 1,000th. And in it, she says that she says so many things. First of all, she said that she sold crack when she lived in Baltimore, which is like believable. That's a very entry-level job in Baltimore. That part I was like, and? But then she also said her and Will been separated for like 7 years. Which, what? She also said that Tupac is her soulmate. It's like she's going out of her way to hurt Will's feelings now. This is really insane. Tupac is your soulmate. You've been married for decades. My soulmate's a guy from the 90s. And the more I think about it, and the more I listen to Jada talk, the more that I'm convinced that Tupac died to get away from her. Like, I feel like... Easily. They dated for a while, you know what I mean? And then he got a taste of what Will has lived with. And then he was in Vegas and he got into it with some dudes on some gang shit and stuff like that. And they shot at him and he thought about what life would be like with Jada. And so he just leaned into the bullet. She said they haven't been together. Her and Will have not been together since 2016, which does make the slap more confusing now. That's right, because like that, they haven't lived together since 2016. Now it feels less like you were defending your wife and more like you just wanted to hit Chris Rock. Like, turn that man to a tambourine for no reason. That's insane. It really is. Like, what? Not even defending your wife at this point. You were defending your neighbor, I guess. Haven't lived together since 2016. It also makes the entanglement more confusing now. Watching Will and Jada is just like the Black Inception. You know what I mean? It's just a nightmare and a nightmare and a nightmare. There's twists that nobody asked for. What? Entanglement. Because then, this is my thing. If they weren't together, why'd they have that whole talk acting like they were together? It made them look worse. Why did they do that? It made her look like a cheater and him look like a cuck, but then they weren't together. So what's the big deal now? I mean, the big deal is that she fucked her son's friend, which is... A lot of people don't know that. That was Jaden's friend. So Jaden over there waiting for play dates and stuff. Ain't nobody showing up like it's a Brazzers video. It's so chaotic.
No, it's just very chaotic. And look, I want to be fair for a second. I do want to be fair. Everyone comes for Jada and everybody shits on Jada so hard. And I get it. It's easy because she won't stop talking. But like, some of this is on Will. We can all agree about some of this is genuinely on Will. People blame Jada for the slap. That's not her fault. That's a grown man. And he got up there and he slapped another grown man. You can't blame her for that. It's not like she used her powers. And people blame a lot of the marriage stuff on just Jada. Will is also married to Jada. You know what I mean? He could get a divorce if he wants to, but he doesn't want to. He does not want, and if you pay attention to the interviews, he said it. Divorce is not an option. He'd rather them live as single people and still be married than to get a divorce. Which is weird. It is weird. I understand. For a long time, they were the symbol of black love, especially in Hollywood, right? And that's a symbol that he carefully curated that maybe she didn't want to be a part of, but it's one of the reasons he can't let it go because it's a failure that he will not accept, right? But to just live as two single people but still be married is weird. It's very odd. Who is it for? It's not for them. They're not together. It's not for us because now she aired it out. Everybody knows. It's not for the kids because they're already weird. So who is this for? And like, I mean, it must be rough. I do get it. I have empathy for both of them genuinely because I think Will, you know, came on strong, wants to make it work and everything, and Jada was just not having it. And a part of me, you know, I'm wrapping up, but just a part of me, a part of me gets it. Because if it's not the life that she wanted, it shouldn't be the life she accepted. That's fair. You're an adult in the world and you make your own decisions and you need to live by them, right? But also to be fair to her, I don't have a gorgeous millionaire trying to fuck me and marry me. I don't know. It probably seems pretty hard to turn down. I'm not gonna lie. Like if Zendaya walked in here right now and y'all look like you're together, if she told you, bro, if she was like, I want to marry you and be with you for the rest of my life, you'd probably be like, look, I'm in a happy relationship and I found my happiness. I hope you find yours. I'm not saying it'd be easy to say to her. You'd probably say it after I do, but you know.
I don't know if y'all saw, but Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty on all charges. If you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he's the dude who looked like somebody microwave Shia LaBeouf. He was behind a multi-billion-dollar crypto scandal, and you know, took a lot of people's money. Had a lot of powerful friends, so he could take a lot of people's money. He was found guilty, and you know, he made a serious mistake. He stole money from rich people. Well, when you think about it, it's really all he did wrong. If you steal from the poor, you're gonna be pretty good off. Like, I don't know. This dude gonna go away for a long time, which is crazy because I don't really understand what he did. But I'm glad he didn't do it to me. I'm not. You ever just, because I never got into crypto because I didn't understand it. So you ever just be so dumb you miss a whole tragedy? You just. Because I saw the whole thing coming. I was having FOMO and everything. And then everybody started losing their money. I was like, maybe it pays to not read sometimes. Maybe it's to my benefit that I have stayed as ignorant as possible on very specific subjects in life.
I was having a conversation with a friend from back home, and so many things work in connection together to get me where I am. I saw this article about this guy. I think his name's, I might be mispronouncing it, but Brian Mwende, and he is in Kenya, and he was a lawyer. He was a fake lawyer. And he won 26 cases straight. 26 cases straight, one after the other. WWWW. And then they finally caught him. And now he is awaiting trial, where I pray he represents himself. That's phenomenal. 26, you got fake, and apparently it's a whole thing. I didn't know this. In Kenya, this is a whole thing. There are a bunch of fake lawyers, because he was just the first one. There's a bunch of fake lawyers that just never actually passed the bar, but they've been practicing. I guess they got a storefront or something. Like, I don't know, you just walk in and you're like, you seem like a lawyer. You know, the only way I know any lawyer has been a lawyer that I've ever worked with was the paper on the wall behind their desk. If that's fake, I have a fake lawyer. That's my favorite story, though. My favorite thing that happened was Paris Fashion Week. If y'all aren't familiar, Paris has Fashion Week, and all these people high up in the fashion world, rich people, celebrities, they all descended on Paris for a week to see and be seen and stuff. And while they were there was an outbreak of bed bugs, which is hilarious. It couldn't be. You gathered all the richest people in the world together in one place and gave them bed bugs? Are we sure this wasn't an activist? You sure this wasn't Greta Thunberg trying new things? You know what I mean? Just her sitting there like, you take a jet, you pays the price. You know, could have been. We don't know. But it was amazing. They gave all those rich people bed bugs. It made me laugh so hard because it's Fashion Week. So half of them dress like bed bugs to begin with. So like, bed bugs probably thought it was mating season. You know what I mean? They were seeing them walk by like, okay, come through, thickness. I'm gonna take a bite of you later. But no, people from Fashion Week spoke to the press and the public. People from the local government spoke to the press and the public and everything. And mostly everyone was trying to maintain a sense of calm the entire time, right? We're very sorry that this is happening. This is not a reflection on our beautiful city. We're doing our best to move people. Just please stick with us, right? But there was one person that was my favorite. The deputy mayor also spoke to the public and the press. But when the deputy mayor came out, he was like, it's an outbreak. No one is safe. What kind of leader says no one is safe? We just came out of a global pandemic where no country's leader said no one is safe, even when no one was safe. That's crazy. Then the mayor, because the mayor came out, she was ready. She was like prim, proper. She made me feel reassured I wasn't even in Paris, right? And then she got this assistant-ass mayor behind her. No one is safe. She's probably like, get him out of here. It's crazy. No one is safe. Every leader I've ever had has tried to maintain a sense of calm in a crisis. I remember when I was in middle school, in English class. And English class was after lunch. And I had seen this kid at lunch, and he had a nasty-ass lunch. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, he gonna be sick. That is disgusting. And so then I sat as far away from him as I could, corner of the classroom. And then middle of class, sure enough, his stomach started bubbling. And we all hear it. He just over here taking notes like... looking at us like, y'all don't hear me, right? It's like, of course we hear you. His stomach is loud as hell. And then in the middle class, he jumps up and runs out. And on the way to running out, because he was very sick, he threw up on the back of like 7 kids' heads. And our teacher said, calm down. I know y'all just got thrown up on. Let me get some towels. It's gonna be fine. She didn't say, no one is safe. You see what I mean? I worked at an Italian restaurant that burned down, right? It burned down, and even as the head chef was trying to put the flames out on his back, no one yelled, no one is safe. We just tried to put this man out. Actually, one of my favorite things about when that happened was, okay, so the chef is on fire, right? And then the line cook ran out to the dining hall where everybody else was, and then just yelled to the whole dining hall, we on fire, motherfuckers! Which is like as informative as it is unhelpful. Like, he's telling them the details, but not enough to get them moving. Also, we are not on fire, just he is on fire. Some of the building is on fire, but mostly it's just him. He on fire by himself, right? And so no one knows what to do, because even if someone ran in now and was like, we on fire, motherfuckers, you wouldn't immediately jump up and run. They looked at him and they were like, so is he on drugs or what's And it wasn't until the chef ran out behind him out the door with a couple flames still on his back that everybody cleared out. He yelled, we on fire, motherfuckers. He didn't yell, no one is safe. What would even possess you to put the words to get to the public, no one is safe? Like now that I think about it, I think that was that deputy mayor low-key admitting he had bed bugs. That's what it was. It had to be, no one is safe. That means I'm not safe. No one is safe. I wish there was video. There's no video of it happening. But you can tell that this is the case because anytime one of our leaders has to speak to us, they're calm because it's not their problem. That's what's happening. I grew up in Louisiana. Our whole state would get slammed by hurricanes, and the governor would come on TV and be like, we're gonna stick in this together, all right? We're all in this together. He's clearly in Massachusetts, by the way. We're all in this together, all right? Y'all just stick with me, we're gonna get through this. You know what I mean? I think that dude freaked out because it was his problem. It's hard to stay calm when you're in the middle of something, you know? I wish there was video. There's no video. I wish he would just come out, because you know he yelled it. You know, he was like, no one is safe. It's happening to everybody, including really cool people who don't deserve this. God damn, I wish there was a video just to see him be like, it's an outbreak, y'all. We doing our best, but this is bullshit. I thought I had it all figured out, you know. I was sexting. And sexting's a very precarious situation. You want to make sure you're sexting at the right time, you know? Because if it's like 8 o'clock, you still got other people texting you, you know? You don't want to accidentally send a text that's incoming to somebody because you opened the thing. You know what I mean? And it's also like, what if you're not that skilled? Like, what if I'm not good texting with just my left hand? Now you texting typos and stuff. It's knocking the sexy right out of your sexting. You know, it's like, I'm gonna fud your bass. It's like, nobody's into it now. You know? So I had an idea. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. I had never heard anybody doing this, but in my mind, it was the best thing to do. I was like, I'm just gonna speak to text. So that way I don't gotta worry about the other hand and everything, and I can just like get in the zone and stuff. I don't have to worry about other people texting me and everything. And it went horribly wrong. Because I wasn't at home. I was at my childhood home. So I was in my room, but it wasn't my house, you know? And it was, 9 o'clock or so, and we were sexted. Look, I'll read you the thing right now. This is what. Okay. All right. So she's like, "Oh, okay. And what's good? What would you do if you were here right now?" And then I was like, "Girl, I would tear those clothes off. And Mom, what are you doing in here?" Mom, I had the door closed. You can't just open the door. I was just coming to see if you wanted dinner. No, I'm okay. Mom, get out right now. Boy, how you gonna tell me to get out somewhere in my house? I'm sorry, Mom, please, can you please leave and close the door? You know we don't have closed doors in this house. Which is true. That's a very like black family thing of like you not closing the door in my house. What you up to in there? And I was like, Mama, please leave. Please, please leave. And she was like, all right, what's the big deal? I was like, nothing, Mom. Just please get out of here. So anyway, girl, I would say... All right, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
One thing that is very fun about being in Pittsburgh is your sort of singleness in fandom. The way that you love the Steelers, right? The way that you, yeah. And I saw this story about a woman whose husband sadly passed, and to commemorate him, she kept his Steelers tattoo. I'm glad we're on the same page. Because initially when I saw it, I was like, what? Yeah, no, kept the Steelers tattoo and it's like in a little. And then in the article, she was like, yes, we kept the tattoo. No, we don't think it's weird. And I was like, I figured you didn't think it was weird. Seems like it was your idea. That would be wild if you were sitting there holding the plaque like, I can't believe they let us do this. This is... little odd, right? And look, I don't know. Wow. Like when I saw it, I was like, because also, look, I'm not gonna linger on it too long, but it was a big tattoo, so I don't even know what that is. That back? Is that arm? Is that, you know what I mean? And maybe this is something that the husband would have loved. Maybe he's like, yeah, keep it, put it in the living room, right? I don't know. I also don't know how hauntings work, but I imagine I do imagine having some of my skin means I'm gonna stop by. If anybody ever kept some of my neck, I think I'd be like, we have to have a discussion. Poltergeist or not, I'm coming over, we're talking about it. You know, you already have to be careful in people's houses because you never know who got the urn on the mantle or something like that. I don't know why they don't sell urns with like a lock on it. Every urn I've ever come across just been ready to be opened like a cup of sugar. We gotta start making urns harder to spill. You know what I mean? I've been at people's houses where they got, whether it's like a family member or the pet, they got the urn on like a mantle or a bookshelf, and I'm like, that's a little high. If it falls, they will be everywhere. And it does sort of, I don't know. It does taint the memory a little bit if this urn fall and now you gotta Dyson him up. And then put him back in a new urn with whatever was on the carpet. Just something to think about, baby. I don't literally just even McDonald's cups are harder to spill. Just something with a twist lock, something. Because let's be honest, unless you spread the ashes, you never need the ashes. You know? It's not like you hiding something in the ashes and then you're gonna open up the urn, pull out the Glock. Like that'd be a wild home invasion. That'd be a wild, imagine you're, let's say somebody, goodness forbid, but let's say somebody broke in your house or something like that, and then they've got you and the family held hostage, and maybe you did something to them. Maybe you're a healthcare CEO, right? And so then they got you tied up with your family and everything, and it's like, look, I'm sorry, all right? And they're like, sorry is not enough, you about to go. It's like, okay. All right, I get that, but okay. But a long time ago, my wife passed, and I always said that, like, whenever I go, I'd like to go with her, and she's right there. Intruder gonna be like, over there? Yeah, she's on the fourth shelf. Fourth shelf next to Great Expectations. If I could just like hold her, I'll just, small kindness. Let me hold her while you bow. The intruder's like, okay, go ahead. Go get her. Oh. Thanks, honey. No, it's wild. Because now that mantle just, it's like in a frame. And I guess they're gonna put it on the wall. That seemed just as precarious as any urn. Imagine you having a house party. And somebody bumped the frame, it fall. Now you getting yelled at. You knocked over daddy. Everybody does things differently, and some people very differently. But once again, I don't know. I don't know if he would have loved this sort of thing, But it'd be crazy to think he might be looking down like, ugh. But in case he loves this sort of thing, and in case he can hear us on 3, I'd love all of you to join me in a Go Steelers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Hopefully that will stop me from being haunted. In my life, I've had a lot of roommates, and it's funny because, like, I don't know, I've talked about this before, but like, roommates is like extra family because you're poor. You don't exactly bunk up with a stranger because things are going well. Every roommate I've ever had has been out of necessity. And you just gotta get used to it. But it's crazy because people, the way that people are roommates is usually a clue into how they lived before, like how they were raised potentially. Maybe they were raised to act differently than they're acting as roommates, and this is them out on their own for the first time, rebelling against all these rules they had at home when they were, younger. That's the most charitable way to put it. Like, I think mostly a lot of people are insane. And there's nothing like having like a messy or lunatic roommate, and then maybe you do become friends though. Maybe you're friends, maybe you're friendly. And then you go visit them at their house and you see that it's pretty much the same. This person is wild through and through. I had a roommate that, there would be some nights where he would sleep in the bathtub. He had a bed, he had a mattress, he had pillows. But he said he would sleep in the bathtub because it felt more normal to him when he would wake up from a night terror. And I was like, I don't know how you find that out. That means this man had night terrors and tried every room before he went tub. And that was a tough roommate to have because, I would go to bed at a regular time, even a little late because, we're young and everything. We're in college, and then I would just know I can't go to the bathroom for the rest of the night. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to hold it until he wakes up, and what would normally be distressing, sleeping peacefully, and then hearing from the bathroom, is only made a relief because then I know, okay, he's up, I can go. A lot of people in America worry about terrorism. It's a top concern for some people, and it just depends, mostly to me at least, on when you were born. And I think that within this understanding of terrorism, there are many different definitions. One definition is someone who stokes fear and anxiety for the purpose of fear and anxiety in their enemies. And there's a lot of talk of terrorism or potential terrorism. People get called terrorists all the time, and there are some people that want to equate terrorism to one specific group, one specific religion. But I know that there are terrorists, but the terrorists that I'm talking about, they have no religion. The terrorists that I'm talking about, the terrorists that I believe already live in the U.S., they don't have some God that they call to for their purpose of doing what they do. They just do it to stoke fear and anxiety. I'm talking about people who put an empty box of cereal back on the shelf. These people have no place in our society, all right? I had a roommate. Last straw for me was this man. I bought some Cheerios, and I bought it for the group. We all eating out here. And so then I go to grab the Cheerios, and I'm excited, I'm hungry. And I go to grab the Cheerios, and there's a certain feeling. Anyone who's been a victim of what I'm talking about will know the feeling. It is a weightlessness of despair. You go to grab what you think might even be a half full box of cereal, and in your attempt to grab it, you put too much energy, too much force into your shoulder, into your arm, into your hand. And when you put that force into your shoulder and your arm and your hand, and you grab the box of cereal and you go to lift it up, you hit the top of the cabinet. Because there's nothing in there. And not only is there nothing in there, what's been left is crumbs. And the sound of crumbs is the jingle bells of poverty, all right? I've never felt poorer than when I hear crumbs. Hearing crumbs is right out of Oliver Twist. Crumbs is what Charles Dickinson wrote all his best work to. I didn't even think I could hear crumbs. But they have a sound. It's a mix between bread particles bouncing off each other and then a whisper. It's in a moment. It's something that almost can't be identified. And it's the whisper of those crumbs, the same way that you could split atoms or you could collide particles and make an entire boom, a bang, a nuclear bomb, and a hydrogen bomb. The banging together of these bread particles makes one singular noise, and it is the universe telling you from a point of almost quantum physics, bouncing the particles off each other, that you're poor. That's the sound of poor. Wouldn't you love to say yum? You'll never say it. You're too poor. These are crumbs. If you've ever in your life, out of necessity, not out of deliciousness, had to pour crumbs into your mouth, only in the Bible do I imagine this level of thirst for food. You might as well be in the desert. Even if you are in your Pittsburgh apartment, you might as well be in the desert if you are opening your mouth, letting it hang, while an entire bag of crumbs slides and floats to your mouth. Because the crumbs that are sliding into your mouth from this bag, they have no Christianity.
These crumbs are there to embarrass you. They're there to make you look and feel poor while you pour them into your mouth. Maybe that's where we get the word poor from, and maybe that's where we get the other word poor from, because you have to pour these into your mouth while you feel like the poorest person that has ever lived. And the bag is stiff because it's that hard, semi-soft plastic that they only make cereal bags out of. And because of that, it's got a lot of ridges. It's got a lot of things that the crumbs can slide and get caught up on, you know? It's a lot like when you try to get water to a new place and the water is working its way through the canyon, but it doesn't know where to go yet. It's being pushed by the other water. And this gravity that's pulling down the crumbs to your mouth has the crumbs rushing at you from all angles. Even when you try to pinch the bag, you try to pinch the bag to give yourself some dignity. You try to pinch it and straighten it up to make a funnel for your mouth, because this is all you have. Crumbs is all you have. Crumbs is your life. And so you make it as straight as possible. You slide it down. Only when you are making a paper plane do you have this level of intent as you straighten something out. You straighten it out as much as possible, and then you dip it into your mouth, and still the ridges find a way. Because the devil is busy. Oh, the devil is hard at work trying to make you look and feel poor, even if you're alone in the room. You pour the crumbs, they're rushing from all angles, skiing down the plastic to your mouth. But then something happens. You don't know if it's in the middle of the bag or it's at the very edge, because some bags, depending on what cereal you get, have smooth tops and some have ridged tops, okay? That's going to be important, because if it's a smooth top, the crumbs will slide out. If there's ridges right at the top, that means that the crumbs have one last giddy up before they get to your mouth. And so then not only do they giddy up, but you are looking for the food. You'd at least like to see what you're eating. And so you're looking down the bag, and the crumbs are like, we can go anywhere. We could go in your mouth. We could go up your nose, but we love to go in your eyes. And so then you're standing there with crumbs in your mouth and in your eyes and down your face and down your shirt, because as soon as they got in your eyes, they stung, because crumbs are sharp. You might as well juggle knives over your open eyes. You know what that feels like? To be You know what that feels like? To have to dig Cinnamon Toast Crunch out your eyes. Every cereal sharp. Every cereal is sharp. And so I remember I was a victim of terrorism. And I took my crumbs like a man. But then I confronted my roommate. I said, hey, I know what you did. You know what you did. I don't know why you did it. I feel like I've been very respectful. I feel like we have a good rapport. I don't know why you would engage in such a vicious attack against my Saturday. And he was like, what? I was like, you know what? Because he did know what. Because without me saying anything else, he was like, look. I put it back, but there was some in there. And I said, some crumbs? He's like, no, there was Cheerios in there. And then I thought, okay, Maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I have accused the wrong roommate because I have more than one. And so then I walked to the kitchen with him because the bag and the box were laying on the ground because I obviously had to run to the bathroom and wash my eyes out of the very sharp cereal. And at this time, first of all, I need to go back. This is the second time this had happened. All right. And so first time was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And then the next time it was Cheerios. That's my mistake. And so then he was like, there was some in there. And then we walk over and the bag and the box are strewn on the floor like a crime scene. Because I had to drop them immediately. I also got Cheerio in my eye. And I was like, there was nothing. And you know there was nothing because it was only crumbs. And now the crumbs are in me and on me. And then he's like, no, there was something left. I was like, what left? And he was like, there was one Cheerio. And I was like, now I know. You might as well be Osama bin Laden because the fact that there was one Cheerio you chose to not eat and leave means you're out of your mind. And then I looked, and sure enough, there was one Cheerio on the ground. One Cheerio. A single Cheerio. Like a British person saying goodbye. Obviously, I didn't kill him. I'm here with you now, but I thought about it. I struggled a lot, growing up, even into like early adulthood with opinion of myself, with like body image and everything. It's very difficult sometimes for any young person to believe, if they don't already believe, that they are lovable or that they are good in just the way that they are. Basically, that they are enough. You're still working on yourself. There's still things you want to do with your life. You got your whole life ahead of you, but there's nothing extra you have to do to be worth anything, And it's a hard thing to convince someone of who doesn't believe it. I wish more people believed it. If you saw yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a beautiful world that would be, And it's not as if love isn't poured into and on these people, showered with praise when something goes right. Not everyone gets it, but even for the people that do, they still struggle with body image. They still struggle with confidence. And then for the people who should have people that they look up to, maybe not giving them any of that, either being indifferent to them or actively hurting their confidence. Sometimes even when you have those positive forces in your life, you still don't accept it in a way that would help boost your confidence. You're like, she loves me, but that's like my mom. She biased. And I know for me, I spent a ton of time trying to work on myself in different ways. Some things that I actually needed, some things that built me up, and some things that were maybe a little bit unnecessary, I really struggled to look at myself in any positive way until I got really fit. Like in my head, really, really fit. I should look like I saw other guys and I thought I should look like that. I should look like a version of that, at least,
And never mind that I'm looking at dudes who have been on their own journey or struggle with their own confidence, or maybe get a little extra help to look the way that they look. I don't know. And I was never trying to be like insanely huge. I joke about being like ripped and real big, but honestly, I don't have the frame for it. Truly, I'm not tall enough to be wide. Yeah, I mean, no matter how big my shoulders got, I'd start to just be in the way. Like, it looks good in the picture when you're flexing and you've got all the muscles and they're all defined and everything, but then practically in life, it does start to be a problem when you're trying to walk through a door. You don't want to be on a date and see a door and go, uh-oh. How do we handle this? You know, because the shoulders, the hips, they're all wide and muscular, but that door frame, oof, making all of them standard. I can't believe they're doing this. And then you're holding hands, you get to the door, and you're like, you first. You look like you being a gentleman, you know. Please go ahead. And then she walks through the door with ease, and you now have to figure something out. You're standing on the opposite side of the door, and you're like, oh, okay. As soon as you strained, you let her know this isn't going to be the life for her. I never wanted to be huge. I just wanted to be very, very fit, you know? And I worked on it with some success, with less success. But even when I started to work out, I realized that wasn't really the issue. Now I was going to the gym and I was eating as much as possible and I was gaining a little bit of weight. Not much. And I was like fighting to keep looking this certain way. And I finally accepted that, like, even if I got there, maybe I wouldn't be happy. And I even discovered that through other people who I knew were there. People who I wanted to look like that were in my life, you know? And they still had all the same problems I did. And I would go to the gym and I'd see people packed in there fighting to look a certain way so they could feel a certain way. And there is a bit of a cheat code. You can try to work on feeling the way without having to fully change your entire body. You know? You don't have to earn loving yourself through like straining and potentially hurting yourself, you know? Like there's some things that there's some things that go and be lifted in therapy, you know? Like it's just and but I remember I would see these workouts, and sometimes you see people get creative. There are a couple machines that are pretty straightforward. You sit down, you want to row, you put your feet here, and you pull. And that's the exercise right here. This is just what you do, and you do it for your back. You know, you work a little biceps in there too, and maybe if you're trying to work more of the back, you can lean forward a little, lean back a little with the pull. You know, I saw a guy sit down like normal, and then put his feet in. And I'm not gonna lie, I stopped. I was like, this is about to be awesome. This man, I don't know what muscle it works out. It seems like it just ruins your joints, but he went. Oh! Oh! Just make sure it's clear. Oh! Oh! Ah! And it looked like it felt like it sounded. This man did 8 sets of 10. And I watched the whole thing. Oh, there was even a time where I went to the gym and, I was working out my legs differently. I was doing some lunges, I was doing some like split squats and everything. Not much weight, but just trying to make sure that I worked out my legs, because there are some people that in all that self-consciousness and all of that wanting to build up for yourself, your body and your image, they still only work on the glamour muscles. They forget the base. They forget their core sometimes, and they definitely forget their legs. And we've been told since we were children that the legs are important. We've been told in many different ways. We've been told by PE teachers. We've been told by coaches. We've been told by parents. We've been told by cartoons. There's an entire cartoon dedicated to people who skip leg day. Johnny Bravo was trying to warn us for our entire childhood how important leg day is. That's not a structure you want. You don't want to have more hair than... So I was working out my legs, and so I'm packed into this gym with a bunch of other people, which is, look, it's very frustrating because this gym was unfortunately affordable. So a lot of people were in there, and I was one of them. And I was hopeful, sometimes they sell memberships all year and they're counting on people not to go. The way the gym structures are built out, it's so that you get all of these people here, but they're signed up, they don't actually show up. And so a gym is able to run fairly efficiently as long as like 1/10 of the people who are members show up at a time. If everybody showed up that was a member of the gym, if everybody started to really decide to work on themselves, it would look a lot like TSA. Be very little movement. The only way to work out would be passing the weights, just you can have some. And while I was in the gym, packed in there with everybody else, there was a fire alarm that went off and some smoke that we saw. And, I didn't see any fire, but 2 out of 3 signs isn't bad. And so there were only 2 exits, which in retrospect was a horrible thing. Like you could only get out through the elevator, which you're not going to take during a fire, or the stairs. And so people started clamoring for the stairs. And this is where
the real fitness test began. Because there were some people that were out in a flash, but then there were other people who had been working out, so they used all their fire running strength on the treadmill. So now they see that the fire alarm is going off and there's smoke, and they hop off the treadmill and they're like, oh no. Oh. And then there were other people, what I would assume people who were a bit out of their mind, that even treated the running out of the gym like a workout. There was one lady literally still looking at her watch going. And then there was me, who had been doing leg day. Tried to make my way out as fast as I could, but honestly, if I could brag on myself for a second, I had gone pretty hard. You know, I had a PR and everything, and a PR is what you don't want to have when it's time to run. Because I put the weight down, I saw everybody running out, and I made my way for the exit, and I could not stop jiggling. Like every... And yeah, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you have to evacuate for a fire, but nobody moves like there's a fire. Even as you're going downstairs to like get out of the building that has smoke in it that is like clearly, at least seemingly on fire, you still get people that do that thing that people do when they get to the top of the stairs, where now that they're clear, they just enjoy their day. If you've ever been in a walkway, there are people who can't wait. At the beginning of the stairs, they can't wait to get up there. And then as soon as they get up there, as soon as they are past the last step, they're like, oh, yeah. As if there's not a ton of people behind them. And so I'm noticing as I'm shaking and jiggling down the steps, how slow people are going down the steps. And so people do start to scream like, hey, hurry, move it, you know, fire. And then we get outside, and it was next to the door. One of the reasons everybody was slowing up was that same lady was out front near the door, just like next to the door, just run. Like, you still got the rest of the world to run. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for your gym buddy, you left him. You left him to die. It's funny because I was watching the news and I saw this, can't really call it a debate. It was more of a screaming match. But it was on CNN. And on CNN, okay. Found the one person that works at CNN, and that's bad. I've never heard anybody clap for CNN like that. Yeah. Why is that? Now, to be fair, though, look. To be fair, we don't know where our friend is from, and CNN abroad is actually substantially better. Like, when you watch CNN and you're in like France or something, it is actually like engaging programming. That we really are the only ones that do CNN the way we do CNN. I like, as an example, when you travel the world, McDonald's is still fast food. We're the only ones that made it poison. You know, every other country, they just say what happened on the news. They just tell you. They're like, oh, yeah, no, then these people came, and then the other people came, and then the first people left, and the second group of people left. It's really mostly in the U.S. where you watch news, and it's like, chaos in the streets! Like every news segment is cutting a promo for a horror movie. Oh, I was watching CNN and I saw where Jillian Michaels was on there in a debate that she seemed to have started, and they were talking about changes to the Smithsonian and how art and culture shifts between who has the power to dictate how the exhibits are written, who the exhibits are of, and everything. And Jillian Michaels was like, it's so unfair that slavery in this country only gets blamed on one race. Look, as outrageous as that is genuinely funny. Like, look, I'm not gonna tell anybody how to feel, but if you heard the words I said, that Jillian said, and you immediately got angry, I would ask you to take a step back. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. You can be angry if you want to be angry, because it is a very short-sighted, ignorant thing to say, but that's precisely why it's so funny. It is absolutely hilarious. But the best way I can describe why this is funny is when I was a kid, I would I would be at home alone for about 3 hours. I would get off, from school. I would do practice, and then I would get home and I'd be alone for about 3 hours, right? So for 3 hours, I was the only person in the house. And one day, I was just walking through the house. I was eating something. I think I was like eating some Easy Mac and walking, not paying attention where I was going. And I knocked over this vase. And it was a vase that my mom loved, right? And so it smashes on the ground. And I genuinely didn't know what to do, because I was like, man, I'm going to be in a huge amount of trouble. I need to think of something. And in my head, I was like, what should I do? Should I call my mom now and be like, hey, when you get home, you will want to beat me. But I feel like if I tell you now and you're going to be like on shift for another half hour, and then just the concern, because I never call you, I'm hoping the concern that you have that I am calling you you'll be so relieved that I'm alive, that I'm not dead, you'll want to kill me less. You know, because having that coworker be like, it's your son, you know what I mean? And then have you be like, oh, what, my baby? And then I tell you what I'm about to tell you, and then you're like, oh, I'm just so glad you're still with us that I would hate to make it so you were not, right? That was one thought. Then the other thought was, look, I've given this whole having a family thing a good run. Maybe I dip right now. Maybe I leave home right now. And then the third thing, which is what I did do, was nothing. I went to my room and played some video games for what felt like might be the last time in a long time. And then my mom got home. I remember all the noises of her getting home. I remember the like screen door, and then the lock, and then the lock turning, and then the deadbolt turning, and then her walking in, the screen door shutting behind her, her shutting the door, her locking the door, and the deadbolt. Again, every footstep from the front door to the kitchen because she missed it at first. And then every footstep after the kitchen back into the living room where I heard my name. And not my name the way you know it, my full legal name. You know what they put on your death certificate or before a parent kills you? My full legal name. And then I walk in and my mom is like, "What happened? What is this?" And then I said, "Oh, you just gonna blame it on me?" Wow. Wow. Maybe I was in there playing video games the entire time. Maybe somebody broke it, and left. Maybe I'm lucky to be alive right now. You're just gonna immediately blame me because I was the only one here. You're just gonna blame me because it looks like it was me. And that's kind of what Jillian Michaels was doing with the whole, like... Yeah, that's kind of what she was doing. Can't believe you would just blame it on one race of people. And it's so funny, too, because when it comes to history like that, there are always these bad actors that try to pull the thinnest straw man out of the woodwork, you know? There'll always be that person. There was a guy, I don't actually remember his name, and this is before slavery in the U.S. was more based on race and before more people were shipped to the U.S. There was a dude that I've read about that apparently was of African descent, and he came over and he had about 2 or 3 slaves. And one of those slaves was seemingly of the Caucasian persuasion. And whether this thing is true or a myth, I've heard it my entire life when referencing slavery, that there was one black guy who had a white slave. And I'm like, look, even if that's true, that's not what it's known for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're just picking and choosing how you present an entire idea. And it makes sense to me that someone like Jillian Michaels would say something like this. She is from a reality TV show. She's known for the show The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that's who she is, that coach from The Biggest Loser. You know, the nice one. The Biggest Loser was a show, I don't think it's still on the air anymore, so if you're not familiar with the show, it was a show where they would bring on people who were overweight, struggling with image and everything, and they would help them lose weight by making them do slavery.
Mira.